What is up, everybody? Welcome to the sixth ever episode of the Sportsgasm Podcast, the podcast created by fans for the fans, because we personally think that we are the most qualified to talk about our favorite teams. I'm your co-host, Isaac.
I'm Kylee.
And we have a very, very, very special guest today. NFL vet, AAF, and XFL veteran, Mr. TJ Barnes. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. How are you all? Thank you for having me.
Good. Thanks for coming on, dude.
Yeah, thank you so much.
My pleasure.
All right. So we're just going to go ahead, Isaac.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
So we're just going to start off with a couple questions. The first one, what made you go to the defensive line?
It was because in, the 10th grade, I wasn't getting any burn on offense. Like I was really bad at first when I started playing. I didn't know like how to block or anything like that, but I just wanted to be on the field because I got tired of people saying that he's too big not to be playing. So I remember I went to my coach, Coach Metcalf, and I was like, man, can I come do some scout team reps or whatever on defense? And I just fell in love with it ever since, and I didn't want to play anything else. So that's basically how I got started on defense, and just that's been my love ever since.
So you attend Georgia. You go to Georgia Tech. Just quick question there. Georgia Tech football, from somebody like myself who loves college football, Georgia Tech is always one of those schools, and no offense at all, but it's always one of those schools that you don't think of as a football school. What was their football program like when you were there?
I'm gonna try not to take offense to that, but it was definitely dope. It was fun, and we were able to because at first when I came out in 2008, I could agree with you. It wasn't really as a football school because it's known for more as engineering than anything. But when I got there, I guess it felt as though we changed the culture a little bit. We became more well known. Of course, like people knew us because of Joe Hamilton or the 1990 national championship or Megatron himself. But we were able to make ourselves more well known because we ran a unique offense in the triple option because of Paul Johnson, and just able to win a lot of big games, being like guys like the Virginia Tech when they were ranked number 5 at home. Clemson never won in Atlanta while during my tenure there. Just being able to just really perform like the highest of high stages, winning an ACC championship, having the late great Demarius multiple times and stuff, and just going to the ACC championship again my senior year when Miami punished themselves because something they had going on down there. But I feel like we were able to put Georgia Tech football in the map during my tenure there, and even after. So yeah.
That's good to know. Your senior year there, 2013. Let me just. That was 2013, right? Your senior year, or 2012? 2012. Okay, I was about to say, because if it had been 2013, I was going to ask you about if you had ever played against Jameis Winston in that Florida State team, but I think that was a year after.
So you, after college, you go undrafted and you sign with Jacksonville. What landed you in Jacksonville?
It's funny because after I seen that I wasn't going to get drafted, because at first the Texans said that they were going to draft me, then they ended up drafting Chris Jones, defensive tackle out of the Bowling Green, who ended up having a tremendous career with New England. I think he won like 2 or 3 championships. But after I seen that I wasn't going to get drafted, tons of teams kept calling. Andy Reid called me. I think Seattle and like a couple of the Eagles and the Giants, along with the Jacksonville Jaguars and stuff. And I was dating this girl at the time, and I was like, how can I stay close to her? And Jacksonville was the closest one. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll just go here. And it's funny, they offered me the least amount of money versus like going to Kansas City or any of the other teams and stuff. But if I had to go back and redo it, I possibly would go somewhere else and do it then. So
as an Eagles fan, would you want to come to Philly?
It's funny. Even as like a Cowboys fan now, well, I wouldn't even consider myself a Cowboys fan. I'm more. How can I put this? It remains to be seen because my heart still hurts after they went out in the most cowboy way. But
Yep.
I would have like now that I consider it, think about it now, I would possibly I probably would have went to the Chiefs, maybe the Eagles, because they were more talking about me playing offense and stuff with a, and I had the body to play it, and it would have given me more time to relearn everything that I was good at in high school.
So after your time in Jacksonville, you spent some time with the New York Jets. This was
Mhm.
right at the end of the Rex Ryan era. And as someone who's always been a big fan of Rex Ryan since watching Hard Knocks, I'm curious, what was it like playing under his teams?
It was a dream come true, and I say that because when I started realizing that I wanted to play in NFL, like Rex Ryan was becoming more popular, and I was like, I wanted to play for a guy like that, and I became a fan of like those type of teams, and so like him being a guy that was on the forefront, always stood up for his players, the players coach, the guy that wouldn't throw his players under the bus, things like that. He rather address things internally versus doing things through the media, not how you see a lot of coaches do today. And just a guy who just talks shit and just things of that nature. That's the type of guy I want to play for, and then getting the opportunity to do so. And it was everything like that and more. And just him just being able to believe me and just giving an opportunity to play was a dream come true. So I really did enjoy my time with him with the Jets and with my time in Buffalo with him. So
Oh, he was in Buffalo too.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
I forgot about that. So you had the opportunity of playing in both the practice squad and the active roster. What are the major differences there?
Man, in practice squad during like the time that I spent there on like my first year in the league, you just do a lot of work, and it's kind of like you have no room to mess up. Because I know when I got in 2013, October 2013, it was basically like I was hitting there anything that was moving, except for like the quarterback, of course, and just trying to make sure that I wasn't going to like the training room or anything like that because there was no room to get hurt. Anytime that I did get hurt, I was like, all right, cool, I just got to suck it up and just have to wait until the following season to start reporting my injuries and things like that because I don't want to get them any type of showing that, hey, he's nicked up a bit and we got to bring somebody else in here and things of that nature. So it's really a tough and stressful life. And even when you do finally make the roster like I did the next couple of years and stuff, it's still a constant, you're constantly stressed out because I didn't have any like guarantees on my contract as far as like, oh, if they cut me, then I'm still going to get paid this amount of money or whatever. I was like a fringe type of player. Like I was playing well, but my contract just kept me in line as far as like, oh, we can still do away with him. Like if we seen another need at a different area, which happened in 2015 when Rex came down to the Meadowlands for his first appearance, and I got cut like 3 hours before the game, which is still mind-boggling to me for a guy who didn't even play that game and stuff. So, but yeah, it was like being on the roster. It feels a lot better. Of course, you're bringing a lot more money. You're playing and stuff, but it's still just as stressful as being on the practice squad when you don't have any guarantees.
That makes
Now,
sense.
now as a journeyman player, I got to ask because you've jumped around with a lot of teams: Jacksonville, the Jets, Buffalo, my Chiefs, even the Panthers recently. I got to ask, out of all the teams that you've played for or signed with, which one you think was the best one you signed with? Like, which one had the best experience?
Oh, Jets overall, because
That's
the Chiefs had more prestige as far as like, we're gonna win. But I had the most fun with the Jets. Just overall, just it was a lot of development in my career, and I learned a lot there. And just my teammates were just like really cool. Everybody was like, it was a really good environment to be in. Rex was always cool, even with Todd. He was just like a defensive mastermind, also, and just really just a straight shooter and stuff. And when I went to other teams like the Panthers, it was just really hectic and stuff. Felt like I was being treated like a rookie. And the Chiefs were cool. That would be my second choice. Like I would have loved to retire in Kansas City. Winning was new to me there, and
Right.
for all overall experience and stuff in Jacksonville, I just felt as though I never really fit in there. And that's nothing against them or anything like that. Like, I grew up in Florida, and just being able to play in, one of my home states would have been cool, but I just didn't feel like I fit in there. And so, but yeah, New York Jets, way to go.
Well, coming from a fellow Floridian, I will say that that no one is judging you for that Jacksonville take.
No,
So,
because you always want to ask the players, would you want to play for your favorite team or stuff like that? And the answer is usually yes, but there's got to be like a chemistry kind of fit too.
Yeah, and I do agree, because like with the Jets, it was just like I just had good chemistry with everybody, and we went out to do a lot of things and stuff. And when I was with the Jags, both of my stints, like first it was like I didn't really know the game and stuff, and it felt like I was really just me against them. Like versus like when I got to the Jets, it was all right, cool. It's us me against them during training camp, but when we get to like the season and stuff, it's all us collectively working together and stuff. And I just didn't also have the right mindset my rookie year. In the second stint, they already had like their I guess clique established, and I was really just there to relieve a guy who was hurt already and stuff. So, but yeah, with the Panthers, it was just my mistake was after the AAF, I just signed too quick because I was just so ready to be back into the league and stuff, and I did everything that I said I was. I lost the weight. I went to the AAF, dominated, and now I had teams coming to want to sign me. So, and I just took the first one and just should have just been more patient and stuff. So
we'll get into the AAF in a bit, but I do want to ask something about the Chiefs. As a Chiefs fan, I have to know, what is it like playing in Arrowhead Stadium? Everything I've heard from other players who've talked about it is that it's a completely different experience from any other stadium.
It is, and I say that as someone who's been an opponent in Arrowhead, and now playing in Arrowhead as a Chief. It's definitely an unreal experience. Like on defense as an opponent, you can't hear like the calls or anything like that because they're just screaming so loud, and it's just like it's everything that you would want a home crowd to be, especially like a late night game versus the AFC West opponent like the Denver Broncos and stuff. And you get the crowd going crazy. Or when Oakland came to, well, now the Vegas Raiders, but Oakland Raiders then came down when they were highly ranked and stuff. And this is when Derek Carr was having like his MVP type season, and end up being able to beat them and stuff, and the crowd is going crazy. And like even when you pull up doing like you're seeing all the tailgates and stuff, and I'm just sitting there just stepping out, meeting different people, and the fans are just so nice, and everybody's just so like just feel like a really good community and stuff. But yeah, playing in Arrowhead is just like it's fun. It's phenomenal. I would compare it to the Bills Arrowhead to the Bills Stadium, because Bills is just as fun. Because I wasn't hip to the "Let's go Buffalo" and just the stadium, like especially like when you're winning, it's like, man, it's unbelievable. I can say the same thing about the Jets and stuff, and you got Fireman Fred, I think, and it's
Fireman Ed.
And at the beginning of the game, and it's he comes down and it's like JETS Jets, and gets the crowd roaring. It's like, it gets your blood boiling and stuff. And then like those three stadiums is like, man, like if I could go through and just run through the tunnel and just play one more time, because it like it's you can't even really explain the feeling that you get just running out of the tunnel, and just the whole it's a packed game. Even I could go back to Georgia Tech on a Saturday night game versus a ranked opponent at night. Man, it's unbelievable.
There's something special I've noticed in that the small market teams, their fans are usually the craziest. Like Buffalo and Kansas City fans do stuff that like LA fans just don't do.
Jumping through tables.
I remember driving up to like a Buffalo game and seeing guys jump off tables and stuff. I'm like, what are you guys doing? But they were just that enthused and that into it and stuff, and it just made guys want to play harder and things of that nature. And just like even now, me being retired, I meet Bills fans all the time. They give me like stickers and stuff.
That's awesome.
They got like a Bills backers thing that I got invited by one of my coworkers who's like a diehard Bills fan. It's like, yeah, you gotta come on and just experience it and stuff. And it was just a great experience. So
Gotta love Bills Mafia. When you were on the Chiefs in 2016, I believe it was, they made the playoffs. What was the playoff push like?
It was fun, and it was different because it was something that I hadn't been a part of before, and it was a lot more tense because like I think we won the AFC West, so we had to buy the second bye in the AFC at the time. So we didn't play the first week, and we ended up playing the Steelers the following week because they beat Miami. But it was really a lot more tense than anything because it's win or go home. So a lot of coaches, like, they were really a lot more strict, not really letting like things pass by like they usually do. I remember Eric the Enemy, he was just like extremely a lot louder than he usually is and stuff. And there was really no room for error throughout the whole week, but we ended up losing to the Steelers that game, and that's the infamous game that AP had to went Facebook Live, and Mike Thomas said what he said and stuff. But what's funny is when we beat the Chargers early in that season, when we clinched the AFC West, I went live myself, but Andy Reid luckily didn't say anything like terrible or anything like that. It was just me just going around like the locker room and stuff, just us celebrating this winning the AFC West and things of that nature. But
I remember that playoff game well. I believe that was the defense in that playoff game played so well. It's just the offense couldn't go, and the Steelers just kicked field goals the whole game. That was
But what beat us is that AB he was on the outside and they motioned him in, and would put Justin Houston on him. He ended up running a real wheel route, and you can't expect Justin Houston to keep up with AB, a young prime for like that. He was with him stride for stride, but he started breaking away a little bit, and that broke the game open for them.
So after your stints in the NFL, you did experience some time in some leagues that no longer exist, and we wanted to ask you about that. And let's start with a league that I personally am kind of sad that it went down, the AAF, because that was a lot of fun watching that league for the 9 weeks it existed. You signed with the Atlanta Legends. What was the AAF like, and how was it different from the NFL?
It was one of the first times that I felt as though I was playing football for fun. I played throughout my career for fun, but it's just it felt as though there weren't any politics in it. There wasn't nobody who had their hand in somebody else's pocket. So I was like, hey, he's going to get some more playing time or anything like that. Then the next player or nobody's agent to say anything to get somebody else on the field. Well, at least in my experience on the team that I was with. But how I compared to the NFL, it just wasn't ran correctly because I can say that, for instance, when we came in, Michael Vick was offensive coordinator, but he was still tied to Fox at the time because they were doing the whole Super Bowl thing. So he was in and out. And so when he came back later in training camp, they weren't letting him call plays and things like that. And so he pieced out. And so they hired somebody else as the OC, and he was there for a couple of days, and I guess he seen it as the sham that it was, and so he left, and so we hired our quarterbacks coach to be our OC, and then it wasn't going pretty well because we sucked on offense, and I remember we were doing a 2-minute drill or whatever in practice, and he ended up quitting. And so we went into one game without an OC, and then ended up hiring I forget his name, but a legend from the Bengals and stuff. So and had him for the rest of the year. So it was really dysfunctional throughout the season, and it was something that I hadn't experienced throughout my whole playing career. Even going back to high school, everything was just done the correct way. So just having that, I could see why that it failed, other than like the money issues and things of that nature, and them not fulfilling everything that they said they were going to do. So
That's what I remember the most, the disorganization in it.
yeah, it's like just talking to different players, the other teams and stuff, and they're like just saying how things were going and stuff. Because even in training camp, usually like throughout training camp, like in the NFL, you get paid like $900 a week or whatever. It's a set amount how much you get paid, and in the AAF, it was like 300 one week, 100 the next, 200 the following week. So it's like, it didn't show any like consistency throughout the league. And I know my first three games I didn't get paid, and I'm out here just I understood that there was a bigger picture, and this is just a platform that launched me back into the NFL. But it's like, my pockets need to be filled a little bit too.
Right.
So,
You're putting your body on the line and doing all these things, like.
Exactly. But yeah, it was definitely dysfunctional, and I could see why it didn't last. And even just going back and thinking back to like, we had like a little meeting, all the guys who had made the roster and stuff from like all the teams. It was like in this little auditorium and stuff, and then you had the owner, Charlie Ebersol, whatever, came out just talking so much stuff like, oh yeah, we got the back in the NFL, we got the ESPN as a partner, CBS and things of that nature. And me previously just talking to a scout, he just told me like, TJ, just go in, do your thing, and get out, because a lot of the NFL people weren't really feeling this and stuff. So I was looking at it sideways, but I was like, you know what, it is what it is. I'm gonna do my thing and just get out. So
Now with the XFL, was, because I love the XFL. It was awesome. Was it more like the organization? Was it better or?
It definitely was. It was structured a lot better. I got paid on time.
The same amount?
It was different. On what they did, they sold it. One thing that I didn't like, they sold us on a dream, because at first it was supposed to be tiers. You had tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, and tier 4, and tier 1 players like the quarterbacks, of course, and then you got the tier 2s, like, who are really good players from like the AAF, CFL, the guys from the NFL and stuff, and you got tier 3 would probably be like rookies and stuff, and tier 4 would be like borderline players and whatnot. And then once we got drafted and stuff, they switched up on, before like we got drafted, they switched up on us. They said the quarterbacks are getting paid all the same at this amount, and then everybody else is going to get paid like whatever. And so that was like one of the things I didn't like. But everything else, it was really functional for my part. And it was, like, I mean, I wished it would have stayed, because I didn't really see myself going back to the NFL because of like politics and how everything ended with the Panthers and stuff. So I was just satisfied just playing in XFL, and I was just having fun. And I was just having fun again, and COVID happened, and just yeah.
Well, it's coming back. Would you ever consider going back to it?
No. I'm enjoying feeling like I haven't been in a car accident, anything like that. Those Mondays and stuff are getting a little tough to deal with, because I was recovering a lot faster because I was eating well, but it was really just tough to deal with, because I'm like, man, my body just hurts, and it took a couple of days for it to wear off and then get back going and stuff. But no, I wouldn't even go back and play. Like, I'm good not playing.
So along with the XFL and the AAF, you did play one CFL game that's in our notes in week 13 of the 2017 season. What was being in the CFL for 1 week like? How did you end up in the CFL?
So that was funny, because one of my coaches from college, he had reached out to me and said, like, hey, I got a connection with Chris Jones, who was the head coach of the Saskatchewan Roughriders at the time. And he was like, man, they need a defensive tackle and nose tackle who could, really stop the run, things of that nature. Now, I never really paid attention to the CFL. I didn't know their rules or anything like that. But I was like, you know what? I can play for money. So I flew up to Saskatchewan, which was like, I took 2 flights. I flew into Toronto from Atlanta, then had to take a flight from Toronto to Saskatchewan. And getting there, like Saskatchewan was cool to me because I came from a small town in Enterprise, Alabama. So it was like I was used to like wide open spaces and things of that nature. But playing was different. And because I'm like, I got in the game and it's like, all right, cool, it's third down. You're punting. Like, what the hell is that?
Yeah.
But it's first, second down, and third down's punt. But some of the rules is like different for me because me being a nose tackle, defensive tackle, I'm used to everything happening right now versus like being a yard off the ball and then it being like a delayed reaction. And so, but yeah, like when I got to Saskatchewan, got a couple practices in, and it's funny because like I was in shape already, and then they was like, yeah, we need you in better shape. I'm like, how good of a shape can I get in? And we play in like a couple of days and stuff. And so they had me running gassers and stuff, and gassers aren't really nothing on the American field because it's shorter than what the CFL field is. And so I'm running my gassers and stuff. And I'm like, I'm getting a lot more winded than I usually get, and it's realizing the field is a lot longer. But yeah, it felt like they were treating me like a rookie also because like at the end of practice they do one-on-ones with the offensive linemen and stuff, and then then all the I guess older guys would go, then I would go, and then I would keep going, then I would keep going. I'm like, where's my break? But like, we're trying to get you in shape. It was like it was frustrating, and then finally getting to the game. We played the Hamilton Tiger Cats, I believe. I believe that's the correct name.
Yeah.
And I was so hyped for it because I'm like, yo, I get a chance, show the Chiefs they were wrong, but not picking me, not picking up my contract and things of that nature. And I get to the stadium and I'm thinking it's like a prank that they're doing because I guess I'm still technically a rookie. And so I see my stuff and it's a lot smaller than what I'm used to. I'm like, all right, cool, joke's over. And I go talk to the equipment manager, like, no, that's your gear. I'm like, what? I'm like, this is not going to fit me. He was like, no, you're going to be fine and stuff. And I can already tell because like the material doesn't stretch. And so I'm like, I'm out here going to look like the Hulk in baby clothes. So, I'm like, what else? And the saying, you look good, you feel good, you play good, they pay good. And I did not feel good at all. And I felt like I was telling myself. And then I finally went out there and played, and I couldn't move how I wanted to and stuff. I still made plays, but I just didn't feel comfortable. And so after the game, I already knew that, you know what, I'm going back to the States. And Chris Jones and the crew, they tried to keep me. They tried to, make arrangements and things of that nature. And I was like, I wasn't feeling it at all. And so end up leaving, and that was that.
Would you say the NFL was like the best league you played in the sense of like?
My time with the New York Jets, yes, and then I would rank the XFL, and then my time with the Chiefs, then the AAF, and then you can put whoever else after that. So, yeah, and I say that because, like, with the XFL, it just felt like I was just having fun again, just playing football. I wasn't nervous about being cut or anything like that. I was just out there just playing, and it showed throughout the games and stuff. I was just playing on a different level. And when I was at the Jets, I had that same type of feeling. Like, yes, I had that fear of like being cut. But once I started to establish myself, I was like, all right, cool. I'm not worried about being cut anymore. I'm a good player. I can last in this league. I don't have to be that multi-million-dollar guy, but I'm gonna make a name for myself. But yeah, and then the AAF did what it was supposed to, get me back to NFL. And then the Chiefs just having fun again. And I forgot about the Bills. And the crazy about that is like my first half of the Bills was like extremely fun. And then they let go of like my old defensive line coach, Carl Dunbar, and that's when things took a turn for me. And that's when I started like didn't want to be in Buffalo anymore.
So what are some of the biggest misconceptions about a football player's life that you'd like to correct?
That we just make millions and millions and millions of dollars and stuff. Like, you make really good money. It isn't enough to last for the rest of our lifetime. So I get a lot of trolls from people like, oh, you only played this amount of years or this amount of plays or you got 9 tackles or thing. I'm like, okay. Like us as NFLers, we make money, we make really good money, but it just isn't what you see Peyton Manning gets or Patrick Mahomes or any of these high profile players and stuff. Like that's the 10% of the NFL who gets that type of money. And then you have guys who are really good players who make decent money. And then you have guys who are making like maybe 400, 500 grand a year before taxes. So
Wow.
so I mean, it's still a lot of money, but it isn't a lot of money that'll last you for X amount of
Generations.
generations. So they automatically think that we're hitting generational wealth, and that isn't true. You know, it's a lot easier now, being that we're in the social media age and everybody's getting deals and things of that nature, to make your money stretch. And being that we have a lot more knowledge and stuff, but it's still like other expenses that people don't even realize. Like we still have to live. You gotta have a car, house, and then you gotta pay your agent. You gotta pay you gotta pay taxes in every state that you play in. What else? Financial advisor. You gotta make sure that he's doing or he or she's doing what they're supposed to be doing and stuff, and then make sure they're not shady. And it's so much stuff you have to pay for just to be okay, having an okay life. And you're always looking forward to that second contract, and then that's when you get paid. But people don't realize also the average career only lasts about 3 years, maybe. So it's a lot tougher getting to that second contract where you do create wealth, not generational wealth. So
I've always wanted to ask this to a defensive player. The NFL overtime rule. Do you think it should be changed?
Not really. I feel like it's fair because a lot of people were complaining about the overtime rules. What game was it? It was the Bills and Chiefs game.
Yep.
How Josh Allen didn't get a chance. And I remember it was a couple years ago when Tom Brady came on top of that and Patrick Mahomes did get a chance, but it's set the right way so it doesn't set up injury for the game just going on too long. And you have a chance on special teams to make a play to kickoff and kickoff return team. That doesn't happen. All right, cool. You have your defense and you have offense. The game has been played out for 60 minutes. Somebody is bound to make a mistake. I don't care how good you are. A mistake happen. So either side has to do a good job of capitalizing on that. And then the defense, if your defense is good enough, like the Bills were, they had the number 1 scoring defense and passing defense, I believe. I have to go back and check. But they were good enough to get a stop, and they had gotten stops earlier in that game. And so for a lot of people to come out and say like, oh, Josh Allen should have had a chance. I'm like, no, the Bills defense was good enough to make plays, but it didn't happen. And then for the life of me, I don't understand why they put, I think Milano, number 53, on Travis Kelce on that final play. I'm like, that's not a smart play. But and then we seen in the AFC Championship, all right, cool, the Chiefs got the ball first, and what happened? Then go their way. Bengals got to stop. So it's like it plays out perfectly. It doesn't, like, just because you win the toss and you get the ball, it doesn't automatically give you the win. I'm like, oh, people say the stats and things of that nature. I'm like, F all that. You can't let the loss of losing the toss dictate the rest of the game. It was like, cool, your defense, like, you get paid to step up, get a stop. Like, anything can happen in between before that team gets a touchdown. You can make them get a field goal, and now you get the ball back to see what happens. So,
you know what? I'm so glad somebody finally said it. I've been fighting for my life in my group chats all the last like month over this because I'm the one person who says, "No, the overtime rule's fine. We don't have to change it. The Bills' defense should have stopped them."
Like, even like, all right, you do sudden death. All right, you got your offense on, and like it is in college and stuff. Like, there's nobody, I don't like these athletes are really good enough to where this game can keep going on and on and on and on and on, which raises the risk of somebody getting hurt. So if you do like a sudden death or whatever, your offense goes out there, boom, Josh Allen gets hurt. It's like, damn, was this really worth it? Or a key player that gets hurt, and you advance to the next round or the Super Bowl or whatever, and it's like, man, they have no chance and things of that nature and stuff. So it's so many contributing factors that can play into a sudden death, or how it was in the I think XFL, where you got it's one offense and one defense is down one end, and one offense and one defense down the other end. You got 5 chances to score, and best out of 5 wins, and which is cool, but I don't think anybody's going to ever be satisfied, because they're going to be like, oh, well, they could have did this or they could have did that or whatever. Nobody's always going to be satisfied. So I feel like the rules, how they have it in overtime, are fine how it is. Somebody's going to be upset at the end of the game. So.
Yeah, see, that's exactly what I wanted to ask, because you have been adamant for a long time about the overtime rule.
Yeah, and like people like at first, the only thing I didn't like that a field goal automatically wins it, because like anything can happen. Somebody can get in field goal range. It can be a bust or pass interference. You're boom in field goal range, and then that wins the game. If you get a field goal, I feel as though the other team should have a chance to at least tie it or possibly win it. So I like how they are now versus how it was in the past. So.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't think about it. I mean, I've always said, like, if you shouldn't let a coin toss dictate, but at the same time, I don't know. I've had mixed emotions about it. I definitely see that side.
Yeah, because like me being a defensive player, all right, cool, they win the toss. I'm like, all right, cool, it's time to go get a stop. Not, oh man, we gotta go get a stop. It's all about how you see it, versus what is the saying? Seeing the glass half empty versus being half full. So
good.
No, you go ahead.
I was gonna give it to you.
Okay. Well, I believe that's all we had. TJ, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they find you at?
Well, it's tough on social media, because I was like big on Twitter, but now it's just like Twitter's just being like too much for me, because all I see is people promoting like OnlyFans or stuff like that. And I'm like, all right, cool. It's getting a little bit much for me, but you can follow me on TikTok at _TJ Barnes, or NFL to software development on Instagram. So.
What got you into software development, by the way? I meant to ask.
Let's see what happened. Like when I retired, I was just looking for like a lot of something to do, because the only thing I ever done was play football, and so I was just in a flux, just trying to find out like what was I good at other than playing football. And I was getting hired from different positions and stuff, and then I got hired with a company called Carvana. I'm sure if you probably might.
Yeah, I've heard of Carvana.
And I was good at it, and like I'm really good with people, but it just didn't seem like I didn't have like the fun that I was having outside of football, like I was having in football. And so I remember I was just in my work truck, just got finished with a delivery. I'm like, man, this doesn't feel like for me. And I just asked for a sign, like, what should I be doing outside of this or other than this? And I had never been on like the tech side of TikTok before. And then I just opened up my phone and I'm scrolling through, and I'm seeing stuff about cybersecurity, software development, data analysts, and things of that nature. And I was like, all right, cool, I'm gonna take this as my sign and just run with it. And so I put my 2 weeks in and left Carvana, and I've been studying up for about 6-7 months. And then a friend of mine asked me if I could come play with him in the Arena League to help him get to the championship. I was like, you know what? It's fine. I'll come do that for a little bit. End up winning. I played for the Massachusetts Pirates, and we won the championship and stuff. And then came back and ended up landing a position with the company called Markel International and stuff. And I was able to get my foot in the door into tech because, all right, I understood because at first I was doing software development and I was like, all right, cool, but it's a lot of coding and stuff in it. And I didn't feel like studying up on all that coding language and stuff because it was a constant headache trying to pick out bugs and things of that nature. And I guess it comes from me being perfectionist that I was just from football. And so I shifted my focus into cybersecurity and I just fell in love with it. But yeah, when I came back from playing, I was able to land a position and they were able to let me get my foot in the door because I was interviewing for other positions and stuff, but being that I didn't have the experience, they were just like, we don't know, we'll call you back, we'll see if something opens up, just that same old routine. But they really just took a chance on me and I've been, loving it ever since.
Was it a weird transition from football?
Yeah, and like a lot of players go through it because it's like you go from being celebrated just to being like, I guess a regular person. I don't mean that in like any negative type of way, but you're just like, it just doesn't feel the same as I often compare it to like people who come from being in the war, being in the army or whatever, and just coming back into regular society. You feel as though you don't fit in anywhere because like you've been doing this for so long, and it just takes a lot for you to get back adjusted into regular society and stuff. Because like it's not as far as like you go out in public like, oh, they don't recognize who I am or this and that and the third. It's just like it's just really just different from playing, and you just so used to like a set schedule and stuff. And I remember when I stopped, it was like I don't know what to do with myself. All right, cool, I'll go work out, and then I still have the rest of the day to do stuff. It's like it feels like a constant off season, to be honest with you, a constant off season because you work out and then it's like I'm just chill the rest of the day. But that day ends up turning into 2 weeks, and then that 2 weeks end up turning to like 6 months. And it's like, man, where's time going? I haven't really done anything. I'm not playing, I'm not working at the moment and stuff. So it's like, what do I do with myself? And you seeing everybody else, all your friends who you went to school with or whatever, they're just passing you by. It's like, how do I keep up? But
I know that feeling.
Yeah, I was lucky enough to find my own lane and be able to have success in that. So
That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank
I
you
really
so much.
appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I know
Awesome.
it was definitely fun being on here.
We definitely appreciate it. I always love talking to people. I know we love talking to fans, but we love talking to players even more because, you get
The
stories
players
that
actually
you
know
can't
what
get.
they're talking about.
You get stories you can't get from anywhere else. So thank you, my man.
Yeah, man. Anytime you guys want me back on, I definitely love to come back on. This has been one of the fun ones that I'm able to, come on because I'm a whore for podcasts and stuff. So and just talking and stuff. So,
Dude, yeah, anytime you want to come on, you are way more than welcome.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
Thank you so much. Again, follow TJ Barnes on TikTok. I already do.
I just did.
And at NFL to Software Dev on Instagram. Thank you so much, man.
My pleasure.
Have a good one.
You have a good one.